I am today in Shenzhen, China. It's one of the most populated cities in China. Actually, some people say it's third largest, some people say it's fourth largest city, but basically has over 20 million people in the Shenzhen area. It's very large, a lot of people here. It's one of the cities that's very, very modern. You see the high rises here behind me, and obviously you see the greenery. So the government has done a very, very good job of basically keeping it clean and green and very sustainable. China has a population of 1.4 billion people, so alongside India, it's one of the largest countries in the world in terms of population. And recently, obviously, China is now rated to be the second largest economic powerhouse around the globe. The Chinese people are very, very well educated. They're eager to obviously work. They're eager to learn about the rest of the world. And their culture is very unique. So most people here speak Mandarin and Cantonese. Now, when it comes to trade regulations, the Chinese government encourages foreign investors to come in and open facilities here, obviously. More and more Americans are coming here doing business around Shenzhen area, Shanghai, Beijing, and other cities. The government encourages foreign investors to come and invest here. This year, we've seen from the Trump administration and President Xi Jinping's administration that they're making agreements regarding Chinese entrepreneurs sending more chicken, cooked chicken, to the American consumers. And similarly, the American entrepreneurs are now going to be able to send more American beef into the Chinese consumers. So the agreements will continue to increase the interaction between Americans and Chinese, as well as obviously other European entrepreneurs are trying to do more business in China as well. China is a mixed system of capitalism or socialism, as well as obviously having a good environment for all people around the globe to basically do business here. So the Chinese population obviously is growing. We used to have the one child policy before, and now people can have 2 or 3 or more children. The population of China will likely grow slightly in the years to come. So China is going vertical. You can see obviously all these beautiful high rises. This is what it looks like basically when you're traveling around China, whether it's here in Shenzhen or in Beijing or Shanghai or other cities. So China is going vertical. I'm enjoying the past month I've been here, enjoying the beautiful weather, the beautiful city, and excellent food. Jessica is here today to share some thoughts with us regarding education and cultural differences between US and China. So here are some questions for you. Number one, please tell us a little bit about your current role in higher education, as well as why you have a passion for learning.
My name is Yu Zhang, and I'm a PhD student in statistics at University of Texas, Dallas. When I was a child, my parents tell me study is very important. And when I in middle school and high school, I get used to study hard and to get the gold grade. And till the undergraduate study or graduate study, it's more about my future. And I'm always thinking about what I want to be in the future and what I want to know and what I want to learn.
Would you be kind enough to tell us a little bit about your experience living in a Western society? Has it been stressful, interesting, maybe challenging, for example? So if you can give us some thoughts, that would be great.
Yes, and I stayed in United States for 7 years. During the 7 years, I go back to China for 14 times. That means each year I have 2 holidays, the winter holiday and winter break and the summer break. Each break I went back to China. I miss my family, I miss my parents very much, and also I have my own company in China. I have something to do in China, so I go back twice a year. And also, I always think China is it's like my own place. First time I went to United States, I can remember it's 2010 fall. I take my first class, it's a macroeconomic class. And at the class, I take the first midterm exam. And when the time is over, the teacher asks all the students stop writing. But for me, this is my first exam. I don't know much about the rules in U.S. College exam. I'm keep writing, and at that time my English is not good. Even the teacher tell me you can't writing again. I'm still keep writing, and the teacher go forward to me and give me 0 for the exam. But at that time, the exam is very important for me because I'm an exchange student at that time. I need the good grade to transfer to this school. And after the exam, I have to talk with the teacher, and she agreed they can double my second midterm exam grade and to cover the 0 and at that. But in China, if I face this kind of problem, I usually call my mom, ask my mom to talk with the teacher, and at that time, this is the first time I feel nobody can help me, only myself. I need to talk with everyone, talk with the teacher by myself, not to my parents. And also in United States, sometimes it's interesting. I have so many first time in United States, like the first time do scuba diving, first time shooting, and first time go clubbing, and first time do diving.
Okay, shooting, what kind of shooting, in a gun range?
Yeah, it's in a gun store. It's like shooting, yeah.
What should foreigners know about the Chinese people and the Chinese culture?
I think everyone should know the Chinese people are friendly and they are good at English now. And the Chinese culture are more, I think it's more multiple culture now. There's so many foreigners stay in China now. And the thing you should know is about the food. The Chinese food you have in US is not really Chinese food. And then another thing you need to know is in China you even don't need any cash, any credit card. You go out for shopping, only phone can help you. I stayed the whole summer in China. I never use cash, never use credit card. Every time I use my phone.
Very interesting. What are some of the differences in terms of culture between the United States and obviously China?
The first difference I guess is about the eating. In China, when they eating together, they can talk everything. They can talk about business. They can talk about their children, and they can even make agreement during their eating, make agreement between two companies during the eating. But in US, I think eat is only eat. They can finish the lunch for just 10 minutes, but in China, a lunch maybe last 1 hour, and in dinner it's maybe last for 3 hours. And there's a culture called culture of drink in China. Means when you eat together, drink together, you can talk and you can make any agreement. The second difference is about the wedding. I think in US the wedding is just it's just a ceremony to make people happy, and it's always happened in a church. But in China, the wedding is always happened in a restaurant, and the girl and the boy's family can invite all their friends to come to the wedding. Sometimes it's 1,000 people, and for Chinese family, sometimes the wedding is to show else, look, my girl found a good boyfriend, found a good husband, and the boy always use the wedding to show, look, I have a very beautiful wife, and I have a very friendly, I have so many friends. They sometimes it's wedding is a little bit show up for them. I think it's a cultural difference.
And I noticed that when I was at Tea Valley as a tourist, many people were there taking wedding photos.
Yeah.
Does that mean they were getting married that day, or does that mean they're taking photos in advance or after the wedding?
They always taking the photo advance before the wedding, and they need the photos during the wedding. They will use some PPT slide to show the photos and print out some photos and to show to their friends during the wedding. Okay.
What is your view of education between China and the United States? And more specifically, what do you think about the student motivation between the two cultures that you've lived in, and perhaps teaching style of professors between the two environments?
Okay, in China, the high school education is very hard, and we have a college entry exam. Means each high school student have to take an exam to get into the college. But for the college in China, it's hard to get in and easy to out. But in United States, I think it's different. The high school is more easier, but the undergraduate studies, the college is very hard. And in US, it means easy to get in, but hard get out. And I think it's the major difference for the education in China and the United States. And for the motivation, I don't know much about what the motivation for US student, but for me own, till now the motivation is most for myself. I gonna think what I want to be in the future, what's the job I want, and what the things I want to learn. And maybe before, sometimes the good grades for my mom, because they have to pay for my tuition and they pay for me everything. So I have to work hard and earn the gold grade for them to tell them, no, the money is, the money has something get back. And for the professor, I know some people said the Chinese teacher always try to tell the student what they should know, and in US some teachers make the student thinking what they should know. But I think that is about the before, but now I think that's not much different. The Chinese teacher will also make the student discussion in class and makes the student create their own thinking. I think it's not much different. They are all good. But something I can tell is different because I'm a math student during my undergraduate study. When we solve the problem with the US student, I can tell the way we use is totally different, but it's all correct. So it's nothing good or bad, it's just a two different way.
I noticed that you go to the gym a lot on a regular basis, you work out regularly. So in today's environment where most of the professionals seem to be overworked, overwhelmed, and at times unfortunately overweight, what would be your suggestions for keeping a balance between obviously our professional lives and also our personal lives, meaning also keeping good health?
My mother is a nurse. When our childhood, she always told me you need to keep the gut healthy. But till now, I think the health is the first thing for everybody. Even you have a good education, you make much more money. But if you're not healthy, it means nothing. So every time, so I try to keep workout every day. even twice a day. So I think it's very important for all the people. Sometimes I feel so tired I want to give up the workout for today, but after I work out I can feel my energy is back. So I think it's very important for everyone. Health is very important for everyone.
Let me ask you also, since you're an entrepreneur as well, as a female entrepreneur, what are some challenges and opportunities that are open to women, for example, like yourself, in the United States or in China or basically anywhere in the world in today's modern society?
Okay. Actually, for my own company, we have 5 partners. All other partners are male. So I think they all look at me as a boy. They always call me brother Yu, and I don't find something different between male and female in my company. But sometimes for myself, I need to think about it because I'm a girl. I need to get married. I need to have a baby. That's why I'm still keeping study in United States, because after my undergraduate study, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about to go back to China and do our own business. But as a girl, I think it's better to get some own skill for me. Even the business cannot work, I can afford by myself and I can afford by my children. That's why I'm still keeping study in United States. Instead go back to China, because the things I learn now is good for work at home. Sometimes in the future, statistic you need to some programming skill and database skill. I can work at home in the future. That means even I have a baby, I can keep working, keep work, and also even my company cannot work.
And do you think that women face more challenges than men in business and getting ahead?
Probably sometimes, because women, yeah, the same situation. Women need to think about their family, think about their husband. I know some women move with their husband, and the women need to get pregnant and have a baby. At this time, some women cannot work. But for me, I always think about in the future. So I want to keep all the thing I can, all the thing and all the time I can control. So keep study and keep learn more things.
China is the third largest country by area and perhaps the number 1 or number 2 largest in terms of population, next to India with 1.4 billion people living there. How is China educating such a huge population of young people growing up?
Yeah, in China there's a policy called 9-year compulsory education. That means each student can get education for free during the first 9 years. They don't need to pay any tuition. The only thing they need to pay is some activity fee or book fee. And I think the policy is did good in cities, but it's still needed to improvement in some place in some county place or countryside, and I think in China, the parents know in city the Chinese parents know education is very, very important. There's So many Chinese students go abroad each year, even some of them come from a not very rich family. But that's because their parents know education is important. I think some parents can even spend 7% of the salary for their children to study, 70% of their salary for their children to study. But that's the situation in city. But in some countryside, I think some parents don't know how the education is important. Some child when they're like 10 years old, 14 years old, when they are teenager, they go out for work. They are give up the school. They not study again in some countryside.
What is your suggestion for foreigners or expatriates who are coming in either as tourists or to work here as expats in China? What are some things that they should remember regarding respecting culture and norms and local traditions?
Okay, welcome to China and welcome to my hometown Qingdao. And my hometown has a very, very good seafood. And also has very famous beer, Qingdao beer. And before you go to China, try to know some simple Chinese word like hello is 你好 and goodbye is 再见. And also you need to know, ask how much is it? It means 多少钱? And Chinese people are friendly. And they are good at English. And if you first time to come to China, it's better to come to bigger city because bigger cities, more people can speak frequent English, and all the store has the English name, and you can see English in everywhere, like the city Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou is Shenzhen. If you first time come to China, better to come this city. And also one thing you should to know is about the eating is have a meal. I know in United States the culture is pay by yourself. They will divide the meal equally and pay by yourself. But in China the culture is different. If you are a guest, a host buy you a meal, it means they are friendly and yeah, they are friendly. They are very welcome you to come to China, so they want to buy you a meal. It's just a culture different. Let them buy you a meal.
And when people are going to restaurants in China, is there a tipping procedure? Is there a certain percentage of tip for the waiter or waitresses, or no?
I don't think so. You don't need to give tips for the waiter, but sometimes if you feel they're really good, you can give some of them. But there's not the requirement. It's not like a culture to give tips.
Last but not least, what are your suggestions for today's undergraduate and graduate students in business, more specifically, for them to be successful as global professionals in the modern society?
My advice is try to visit more cities and more countries during your student time because you have holiday, you have winter break and summer break. You have time to visit more place at this time. And also, when you visit that place, try to think in the difference of the place between your hometown or your country, and try to find more interesting things in this place. And another suggestion is try to know at least 2 languages. For me, I know how to speak Chinese and English. I know some of my friends know Spanish and even Cantonese is kind of China language. So try to speak more than 2 languages. It's very important now. Another suggestion is try to think outside of the box. My major is math, but the things I do is nothing about my major now. So try to think about the box and think outside your major, think outside what you learn now.
Well, Jessica, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate you taking the time to offer some of your own experiences based on living in the US or even traveling to Cuba or other countries besides China with our students and our faculty and those who are watching this video. We wish you continued success both in education and both obviously as a professional entrepreneur around the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And here in Shenzhen, we're very near Hong Kong. As a matter of fact, it's only about 40-minute ferry ride, or you can take the bus to go to Hong Kong. So what is interesting is that Hong Kong used to be under the colonial regime controlled by the British, but recently it was transferred back to the control of mainland China. You might have heard the One China system that usually basically refers to the relationship between Taiwanese and the mainland Chinese residents. So because again, all of these are people who are Chinese living in Taiwan or mainland China, the goal here is to unify the entire population as basically one governance or one system of governance. Yet Taiwan might obviously have their own elections and have their local authorities make decisions in terms of what is best for them. But nonetheless, it's all one China. So now you can think about the impact of Chinese government and the superpower obviously that they're becoming in terms of economics, in terms of military. What kind of influence will they have around the world? How will the Chinese government use this huge influence that they have, both economically and militarily, to bring about more peace around the world? As you can regularly see, the president of China, President Xi Jinping, regularly mentions that they're going to use their super military force in terms of peacekeeping and to maintain peace around the world, and obviously for defensive purposes. So that's all good to bring about some balance around the world and make hopefully this universe a little bit better for you, for me, and obviously all of our colleagues or the human race.